I used ChatGPT and Midjourney to create an entirely new upmarket gin brand in a single afternoon. That's right, not only did I create a brand concept with a customer persona, a brand name, a brand slogan, and a logo, I also created a unique bottle design, a signature glass, and a premium box set. I also created concepts for marketing material and a brand new website. And here's the kicker, I even managed to convince Ryan Reynolds to be one of my brand ambassadors. Want to know how I did it? Then stick around and watch me show you. So I opened up ChatGPT and started a new thread dedicated to this little experiment. I figured I might as well be polite to ChatGPT and asked it whether it could help me out with my new gin brand. It said that it was here to help, so I guess we're ready to get started. I told ChatGPT that I would like to create an original gin brand that is targeted towards young professionals who also like technology. I specifically want to target people who live in an urban environment but also want to escape the craziness of the city by going outdoors. ChatGPT immediately started to brainstorm and actually went a lot further than I had originally expected. It gave me a whole bunch of brand names like Digital Oasis, Urban Jungle Gin, City Escapes Gin, Tectonic Gin, Metropolis Spirits, and a whole lot more. While I do appreciate the creativity, this list of names didn't quite hit home for me. And actually, ChatGPT jumped the gun a little bit and started to come up with ideas for flavors and packaging as well. And that's nice and all, but I want to land on a brand name first. So I asked it to give me some more sophisticated ideas with a rustic spin. And guess what? It promptly gave me another list with these names: Wilderness Spirit, Rustic Reverie Gin, City Oasis Gin, The Elevated Gin Company, Serenity Spirits, and as you can see, so many more. And while these were already a little bit better, they still weren't quite what I was looking for. So I asked ChatGPT to give me spin-offs of Wilderness Spirit, The Urban Explorer, and The Wanderlust. Unfortunately, it didn't quite understand that it was supposed to blend those three concepts together. However, from the lists that it gave me, I did find a couple of nice ideas nevertheless. I originally decided on Drifter's Gin, but then kind of changed my mind and eventually settled on the Pioneer's Gin. ChatGPT agreed, and here's what it had to say about it. Pioneer's Gin is a great brand name that suggests a sense of discovery and innovation. For the flavors, we can take inspiration from the botanicals and flavors that were commonly found on the frontier during the early days of America. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this is just too wild. Anyway, so it gave me the choice between 5 different flavors. Frontier Spice, with warming spices like cinnamon, allspice, and mud nutmeg. Herbal Expedition, Wild Berry Harvest, Prairie Flower, and Citrus Trailblazer, with bright and zesty lemon and orange flavors. I decided that I wanted something zesty, so I picked the Citrus Trailblazer. Trailblazer is obviously also a really great word in the context of our new brand. So next I asked ChatGPT to give me 10 brand slogan ideas that use the word trailblazer in them. The very first one on the list was actually my favorite. Blaze your own trail with the Pioneer's Gin. I swear to God, brand consultants are going to have a really, really tough time soon, or their business is going to be completely supercharged. Either way, this stuff is absolutely revolutionary for small businesses. So we now have a brand name, a brand slogan, and a signature flavor which makes this gin brand unique. So then I asked ChatGPT to give me some brand colors, including a primary color as well as secondary accent colors. And it proposed the following set of colors. Copper as the main color that represents warmth, sophistication, and also some technological components. As a second color, it suggested deep blue, which is used to represent the adventurous and exploratory nature of the brand. So this color scheme actually sounded pretty good. However, I would probably prefer to put more emphasis on the deep blue aspect and then use the copper as an accent color instead. Anyway, I then asked ChatGPT to give me those colors in hexadecimal codes because I'm going to need them later on when I start editing all the different material for my brand. I also asked ChatGPT to recommend some nice fonts for this brand. However, I must admit that the choices it gave me, I didn't really like them all that much. Okay, so now that I had the visual framework and identity of the brand ready, it was time to spend a little bit more time on the logo and the product itself. All right, so even though I already had a pretty good idea of what sort of elements would work well in this brand, I figured I might as well ask ChatGPT to suggest its own ideas. It recommended 4 possible elements: compass rose, a mountain peak, an anchor, and a gear. Now, since a compass represents exploration and navigation, and a cogwheel or gear represents innovation, I asked ChatGPT to take these 2 concepts and blend them together into a logo idea. And ChatGPT gave me the following description. The logo would feature a stylized compass rose with the brand's name in bold, clean lettering beneath it. The compass rose could be rendered in metallic tones or of gold or copper, evoking the brand's spirit of adventure and exploration. The gear element would be incorporated into the design by having a smaller gear placed in the center of the compass rose, and you can read the rest. Okay, so even though I'm not sure whether I would actually use all of those minute details, this does give me a good idea where I may want to take things. So then I opened Midjourney and started off with the following prompt. Imagine gin brand logo design on navy blue background, symmetrical, compass rose with cogwheel in center. These were a little bit too detailed for my taste, so I tried to simplify things with the following prompt. Notice how I removed the reference to a gin brand and asked for a simple design? It still gave me relatively complex logos, but these are a lot easier to work with. What surprised me a little bit was that Midjourney intuitively chose copper as the accent color, even though I didn't even mention it anywhere in the prompt. That's a little bit creepy. I eventually settled on this one right here because it had sufficient space in the middle for me to place a cogwheel in the middle. I upscaled the image, opened it up in Affinity, and did some editing work. Alright, so now that we have a logo concept, including some decent typography, it's time to start working on the product itself. I actually asked ChatGPT to recommend a bunch of bottle designs. Its ideas sounded really great, but for some reason it kept linking to invalid images on the web that I couldn't really load. I eventually decided that I'll stay away from those complicated concepts that it suggested, simply because it would have been too difficult to actually make them in Midjourney. So I decided to keep it simple, and I stuck to tried and true concepts. So whenever I don't really know how Midjourney is going to interpret certain words, I use a process that is commonly referred to as additive prompting. Basically means that you start off with a very simple core prompt, and then you iterate by adding one word after the other until you get to the result that you're looking for. This effectively gives you a lot more control over the final outcome rather than just guessing by adding tons of words right away. So here's what I started with. Imagine gin bottle design, rectangular. And as you can see, these look like your typical run-of-the-mill gin bottle with floral notes. So I added a few more words, and I also changed the aspect ratio. Imagine modern gin bottle design, tapered rectangular shape, navy blue tinted glass, copper cap, and an aspect ratio of 4:5. I added modern and tapered, as well as specific information about its color. These already look pretty good. I subsequently went through many iterations, experimenting with different versions of this prompt. And here are some of the concepts it gave me. The big challenge here is getting something that is relatively consistent. It's actually quite similar to creating a consistent character in that respect. The other challenge is that Midjourney's dataset seems to be full of tons of images that have all these floral sort of decorations on the bottle. This actually makes it fairly difficult to strike a balance between adding details and at the same time maintaining a slick and modern bottle concept. I eventually decided to take these 4 images as references. I then added them to the following prompt, imagine, and then we start off with the 4 image references, followed by modern gin bottle design, tapered rectangular shape, navy blue tinted glass with matte finish, indented glass, copper cap, rectangular brand label. This produces the following set of images, which I believe are fairly consistent, or at least consistent enough for what we're trying to achieve. I then took all 4 of these images and I replaced the original image references with these. So let's have another quick look at the prompt. This is still the same prompt, only the image references have been updated. I can now effectively use this prompt as a recipe to create different variations of my bottle design. For example, I could place it on a much lighter background in order to make it easier to cut it out for later editing. However, I could also use theme infusion to create more dramatic shots of this bottle. As you can see, the original text prompt is now the first segment, and the second segment infuses the Pioneer Explorer theme. So while this does work, it does have its limitations due to the fact that we're using an image reference. So now that we have our bottle design more or less finished, I decided it was time to place the logo on its label. This wasn't an easy process, but I did manage to get it to work. So check out this time lapse where I add the logo to 2 different bottle designs. Pretty cool, isn't it? And here they are. But what about accessories, like a signature glass or maybe packaging? So since ChatGPT is so good at coming up with good ideas, I asked it to suggest some ideas for a unique glass design for our brand. Nothing too crazy, but very specific. Then gave me 3 recommendations, but it crashed before it could finish all 3 of them. So I asked it to take 2 of those ideas, a copper mug and a tumbler glass, and blend them together into a new concept. And here's what it suggested. The glass could have a copper base and a clear glass top. The copper base would be wide and solid, providing stability and durability. The glass top would be tapered and have a rounded shape similar to a tumbler. This sounded pretty neat, so I tried to create it in Midjourney. I also decided that I wanted the glass to be tinted as well, just like our gin bottle. So I used this prompt. Imagine rounded tapered tumbler glass with copper base and navy blue tinted glass. This actually worked surprisingly well, so I re-rolled the prompt 3 more times and I picked 3 images that I liked the most. I then used those 3 images as references and simply repeated the prompt like so. Imagine, and then we start off with those 3 image references followed by the exact same text prompt. And there you have it. Here's our awesome signature design glass concept. We now have a bottle and we have a glass, but we're still missing packaging. ChatGPT also had some ideas on how that should look. However, all the ideas were just way too detailed in order to recreate them in Midjourney. So I decided to focus on getting the box design right. Before I share this prompt, do not underestimate the importance of actually stipulating materials in your prompts. So here's the prompt I used. Imagine vertical standing alcohol box packaging, sleek minimalist design, navy blue wooden material, matte finish, copper compass ornament, and then a negative prompt, no bottle, and an aspect ratio of 4:5. I specifically asked it that I do not want it to include a bottle. This is really important because remember, I want to cut out the box later on, and if the bottle is right in front of it, that's going to be very difficult. In fact, additional objects essentially make that impossible to do if they are in front of the box. So from all the variations that I was shown, here's the concept I finally settled on. Obviously, this is still missing the logo and proper lettering. So watch me fix all this in Affinity. And there you have it. Our product is complete. Now I know what you're thinking. Of course, no product is complete without actual marketing material. And this includes nice visuals as well as a website. Luckily, Midjourney is predestined for this sort of stuff. Now, although we can't do the final editing in Midjourney, we can definitely use Midjourney to get some inspiration and then use those images as templates. So let's start off with a very basic banner ad. For this, I'm going to use the following prompt. Imagine gin bottle ad, navy blue and copper, pioneering, exploration, mechanical, slices of orange, trailblazer, and an aspect ratio of 3:2. The very first set of images that I got was already pretty much perfect. So even though most of these images already contain bottles, it's relatively easy for me to place our new bottle on top of those. I may have to make adjustments here and there, but overall this should work. And you can watch me while I do it. Pretty neat, isn't it? And guess what? You can use the exact same approach for something like a website design. So for example, you can generate some really wild ideas by using a prompt like this one. Imagine marketing website for gin brand, Pioneer Explorer theme, navy blue and copper color scheme, award-winning web design, Dribble, Behance, theme forest, UI, UX, website, web design, an aspect ratio of 3:2, and chaos of 100. Now, two things stand out here. So first of all, you'll notice that I added lots of references to websites and award-winning design. To be honest, I'm not sure how big the influence actually is. However, I can't help but get the feeling that it does make a slight difference in the images that Midjourney creates. The other thing you'll notice is the chaos parameter. I've used a value of 100, which is actually the maximum you can set it to. I actually have a video that is dedicated to the chaos parameter right here on this channel. However, in short, what it does is It gives me a more diverse set of compositions and ideas within the same image grid. In this particular case, I'm going to go with the top left one. All right, so now that I have my template, watch me create a website concept for our brand. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this now. But what we're still missing in our marketing material are some really nice shots of our brand ambassadors. That's right, celebrities. So believe it or not, ChatGPT can help us with this as well. I told ChatGPT that I need a brand ambassador for our gin, and I asked it to pick the ideal celebrities for it. Ideally, I would like to have a man and a woman. ChatGPT immediately gave me 5 recommendations and even explained why they are a good choice. I ended up picking Ryan Reynolds and Emma Stone. And check out what ChatGPT had to say about them. He is a well-known gin enthusiast and owner of Aviation Gin. By the way, this is true. And his quick wit and charm would be a great fit for the brand. He also has experience promoting luxury products and would appeal to a young professional audience. She is known for her elegance and poise, and her presence in advertisements could help create a sense of sophistication and class around the brand. She also has a wide appeal across different age groups and demographics. Okay, great. So now that we've chosen our brand ambassadors, we also need some nice ads to go with them, right? Cool. So let's jump back into Midjourney and create some nice shots of Ryan and Emma in the type of settings that we need. I'll start off with Ryan Reynolds and use this prompt right here. Imagine wide-angle shot, editorial photo, Ryan Reynolds, backpacking, with an aspect ratio of 16:9. I'm aiming for a look that suggests that this is an urban city slicker that also appreciates the beauty of the rough outdoors. So let's do the same for Emma. I must admit that I'm not a big fan of how Midjourney depicts Emma Stone. The images really just don't look like her. I do suspect that this has something to do with the fact that her last name is Stone, and Midjourney obviously also has different associations with that word and doesn't really know what to do. I tried to fix this a little bit by making some adjustments to the prompt. Imagine wide-angle shot, editorial photography, Emma Stone at age 25, hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. Notice how I've tried to make her character younger? This tends to help make her facial features smoother, although it's really not perfect by any stretch. But in this particular case, I think it did a pretty good job. Now, watch how I turn these images into full-blown gin brand ads. This is excellent stuff. However, we're missing one last ingredient for our brand. We need an origin story. So this is the moment where ChatGPT really shines. After giving it so much context throughout our conversation, it's able to spin up a story with beautiful prose within a matter of seconds. I asked it to create a 250-word origin story for the brand. I'm not going to read the whole story to you. However, I do want to share a few snippets. Inspired by the spirit of the pioneers who came before them, they decided to create a gin that would embody the adventurous and daring spirit of those who blazed the trail before them. With the help of the master distiller, they crafted a gin that combined the bold flavors of citrus and the subtle notes of botanicals, resulting in a drink that was both refreshing and invigorating. And the full story ends like this. Pioneer's Gin quickly gained a reputation as the drink of choice for those who craved adventure and exploration. It became a symbol of urban explorer, the trailblazer who was unafraid to forge their own path and discover new horizons. Today, it is enjoyed by people all around the world who seek out the thrill of the unknown and the spirit of adventure that this Pioneer's Gin represents. I mean, come on, this is seriously good stuff and not different from anything that you would get from a professional agency who, honestly, all they're going to do is brainstorm themselves. So, to be honest, if you work with an agency and you know that they're using tech like this, and they probably are, make sure they don't overcharge you. I asked ChatGPT to sum up our brand's persona in 5 sentences or less, and here's what it gave me. I won't read the whole thing out loud, but this is so on point, it's difficult to fathom. You can also ask it to write a welcome letter for people who buy the high-end box set of your brand. It will create just the right copy that you need, hitting the right tones and creating a sense of appreciation and excitement for what's to come. Now, no alcohol brand is complete without its own signature drink. And guess what? ChatGPT has the answer you need. As per our earlier discussion, the signature drink for the Pioneer's Gin is a cocktail called the Trailblazer. It is made with our gin, fresh lemon juice, orange bitters, and tonic water, garnished with a slice of orange and a sprig of thyme. This bright and refreshing cocktail is perfect for those who want to escape their urban lifestyle and blaze their own trails. Now, I haven't actually tested this recipe. However, judging from the ingredients, it sounds like a straightforward drink, and I'm pretty sure it'll taste fairly good. So there you have it. This is how I created an entirely new gin brand out of thin air in a single afternoon. We literally have everything you could ever imagine and need in order to pitch this to an investor. We have a customer persona, a brand name, a brand slogan, brand colors, a brand logo, signature flavor, a signature cocktail, a bottle design, a signature glass design, a premium box set, marketing material, a website concept, brand ambassadors, celebrity ads, and an origin story. Of course, you can always take this even further, but to be honest, this is already a lot to work with. And the best part is that ChatGPT will continue to brainstorm with you as you go along. This was my very first attempt at building a brand using AI tools such as ChatGPT and Midjourney, but it will surely not be the last. If and when I release part 2 of this new series, you will find the video linked in the top left corner of the screen. If you're curious to learn more about Midjourney's chaos parameter, then make sure you check out this video in the bottom left corner of the screen. And once part 2 of this series is released, you'll find the entire brand creation playlist in the bottom right corner of the screen. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Keep on learning, and take care.